Volo is the final boss in Pokemon Legends Arceus and is probably the single most difficult trainer battle in the entire history of mainline Pokemon games. If not, he's right up there with Red in HeartGold and Cynthia in Platinum, which is funny because Volo's team is pretty much identical to Cynthia's, but with one interesting twist. And by interesting, I mean broken. Today we'll break down the Volo battle. We'll look at his team, what about it is so unprecedented and why it's so broken. I'll show you the team I used to beat him, and where you could find those Pokemon yourself. We'll look at the best method to get quick XP during the postgame, and of course, I'll break down the lame-ass strategy I needed to use to ultimately get past him. Don't worry kids, he definitely deserved it. This dude is so cheap. Let's not waste any more time and get right into it. The Volo fight takes place after completing a number of post-game missions that have you capturing legendaries one after another. The insanity of this battle becomes clear the moment you get a look at his party. Oh, that's weird. Tony, there must be some mistake. Pokemon trainers are only supposed to have 6 Pokemon in their party at most. Yeah, right? Volo is the hardest fight in a mainline Pokemon game because he literally breaks the rules. You are fighting 8 Pokemon here. He has Cynthia's team from Platinum, only swapping out Milotic with Hisuian Arcanine. Then, on top of all of that, you get to face a level 70 Giratina. If that's not enough, beating Giratina causes it to immediately revive itself, and now it's in its origin form with fully restored health and PP. Oh, and in case you were wondering, your party is never healed during this entire process. You can't just dig into your bag and revive and potion everyone before you fight Giratina. Indeed, if you ignore the cutscenes, this is basically a single uninterrupted battle, and that's how you have to approach it. It's your best 6 Pokemon versus his 8. I was able to brute force my way through most of this game with little thought, as I have for every other mainline Pokemon game in recent memory. Safe to say, the Volo fight was like a Mike Tyson uppercut to the face compared to every other trainer battle in the game. Brute forcing this fight was not going to fly. The coverage on this team is insane, and the team I used to play through the rest of this game got absolutely wrecked. And so my first instinct was to actually use some of those legendary Pokemon I just captured during the postgame. I know everyone wants to be a hero and not use legendaries to beat these games, but maybe, just maybe, Game Freak actually balanced this final boss fight around players actually, using those legendary Pokemon. I can't say for sure, but it certainly feels like that's the case, because even after trying with some legendaries on my team, Volo still destroyed me. And so, after extracting as much knowledge as I could about Volo and his team, their moves, and how the AI worked, I went back to Jubilife Village to regroup. It was time to figure out a new strategy, buy some items, level up my team, and even go out and capture some different Pokemon if I absolutely had to. The time for fun and games was over. My team had to be scientifically crafted for one purpose, and one purpose only: beat Volo. Ultimately, this is what I ended up with. So how'd I get there? First things first, I needed to level up my poor, underleveled Garchomp, which means I needed to find a way to level up my party quickly. Next, I needed more offensive firepower. This was going to happen by adding some legendary Pokemon with the right typing and the right movesets to my team. Finally, I needed some bulk, just absolute tanks that could take some big hits, because I was getting 1 or 2 shotted and simply couldn't set anything up whatsoever. I had to find a way to revive my fainted Pokemon before the Giratina phase of the battle began, and if possible, tank Giratina itself. And so I settled on 2 Pokemon that could self-heal and actually absorb a couple of powerful attacks while I revived the rest of my team. Being able to deal damage with them was like a bonus. Cresselia was added to the team for this reason, and the bulkiest of bulky boys, Togekiss. Togekiss could be found midday flying high above Lake Verity. You're going to need to purchase or craft some wing balls in order to reach it. It took a couple of tries, but eventually I was able to get the job done. Thank God, because I wasn't about to start the absolute mission that is evolving a Togepi all the way to a Togekiss. Gible and Gabites are pretty common in this game, and can be found wandering around Coronet Highlands in Wayward Cave, or the Clamberclaw Cliffs. They can also be seen at the Avalanche Slopes in Alabaster Icelands. If you need help getting your Gible into a Garchomp, or just leveling up your team in general, luckily we have a good strategy for that, and we'll get into it in just a moment. The other 4 members of my party are legendaries that you are led to directly during the course of the game's main story and the postgame. So let's level this team up. If we want to stand a chance against Volo, they all need to be in the 60s at the very least, preferably higher. In Jubilife Village, we can speak to Ingo at the training grounds to face some powerful trainers. These battles could be repeated as much as you like, and your reward is a bunch of XP. The first few trainers only have teams of 3 Pokemon in the mid-50s. This pays out pretty well, but when your team is strong enough, you should be facing off against Ingo himself. He has 6 Pokemon, all in the mid-60s, and if you want to beat Volo, you must be willing to grind against this dude. I threw on a podcast and beat Ingo at least 10 times. Unlike Volo, Ingo's team pretty much gets stomped by a bunch of legendaries, so it shouldn't be long before your entire team is above level 60. At last, my party was where I wanted it to be level-wise, so it was time to head back to the mountaintop and challenge Volo once again. Of course, the choice is yours. You could grind Ingo as much as you like, to any level you want, and use any combination of Pokemon you want, but this right here is what worked for me. Before the big rematch, I also purchased 20 revives. I didn't end up using them all, but it's always good to be safe and buy a bit extra in case the RNG goes against you. At this point in the game, you should have more than enough money on hand to buy whatever you need, but if not, be sure to explore space-time distortions, where nuggets and other valuable items can be found on the ground. Finally, let's talk about those grit items, which could be used to boost the effort levels of each of your Pokemon stats. I had a number of them in my inventory unused, and decided to pump up the stats of my 2 non-legendary Pokemon since they were a bit underleveled. This is what I ended up with for Garchomp stats, and here's Togekiss. Then I ran out. These items could be acquired by defeating alpha Pokemon, but I'll be honest, I didn't go out of my way to grind for them or anything like that. Luckily, I was able to defeat Volo without worrying too much about effort levels, but it's definitely something to consider if you're still struggling with the fight after watching this video. You can't go wrong with further leveling up your team by grinding the Ingo fight, or raising their effort levels by grinding alpha Pokemon. So this is what my team looked like before the big fight. My idea going in was Togekiss and Cresselia would absorb the majority of the punishment and take hits as I revived the rest of the team, while Regigigas, Garchomp, Origin Form Dialga, and Heatran would be the ones dealing most of the damage. It sounded good on paper, but then the match actually happened, and, well, you'll see. I like to separate this fight into 3 phases. I opened with Regigigas, used Iron Head on Spiritomb to deal as much damage as possible, but got taken out mainly because I'm a dummy and wasn't paying attention to the game and accidentally used 2 normal type moves against a ghost type. At this point, I was convinced I wasn't going to win the fight, and I continued only to try and extract some more data that I could use for the next attempt. I can't believe the run where I was half paying attention and looked like a complete moron is the one where I beat him, and everyone gets to see it on YouTube. On the bright side, even with mistakes, Volo is beatable as long as you have a strong enough team and the right strategy in place. You, if you have a functioning brain, can probably do better than I did in this video. So after that, I sent out Cresselia, who was able to finish Spiritomb with a Moonblast. Next up is Hisuian Arcanine. Psychic did some solid damage, but of course he had a full restore. Well, I have Lunar Blessing, which heals me and obscures me, which means the opponent is more likely to miss. Of course, this is pure RNG. I think I got pretty good RNG in this fight, but I also used 2 normal type moves against a ghost, so I think it all evens out in the end. H Arcanine was just too damn fast and crunched me twice before I could move, killing Cresselia. This wasn't looking good. Heatran was up next and was able to clean out Arcanine with Earth Power. Next up was Lucario, and luckily I was able to one-shot him with Magma Storm. Then came Garchomp, who proceeded to one-shot me right back. Beautiful. But that's fine. It was time to execute my strategy and tank this dude with Togekiss. Or I could one-shot him. Amazingly, I got the crit and one-shotted Garchomp with a strong style Moonblast. Unreal. Despite those stupid mistakes, I was exactly where I wanted to be, with either Togekiss or Cresselia on the field, facing Volo's Roserade or Togekiss. This is where phase 2 of the battle begins. Roserade and Togekiss are the weakest points I was able to find on Volo's team, in the sense that they can't one-shot me like the others. So this is the time to tank some hits and revive your fallen Pokemon before Giratina gets sent out. So of course, Roserade proceeded to absolutely wreck my Togekiss. As it turns out, it was Dialga that did the tanking. After one-shotting Roserade with Roar of Time, I was able to successfully tank a few hits from Togekiss. I revived my Togekiss, and now it was time for some Togekiss on Togekiss action. I was able to use Rest, then revive my Regigigas and Cresselia. After Togekiss went down, I basically sacrificed my Garchomp to only revive Togekiss. I was hoping for a little more out of Garchomp there, but that's how it goes sometimes. Thankfully, I was able to do a good amount of reviving as Volo's Togekiss slowly chipped away at my team. Strong Style Ironhead did about half health, and then it was Cresselia's time to shine. Togekiss simply can't deal that much damage to Cresselia, and Lunar Blessing is way too good. I was able to revive Regigigas, Garchomp, and had green health on Cresselia before taking out Togekiss and ending this phase of the fight. I had Volo right where I wanted him. From here, the strategy was simple. Cheese Giratina with Togekiss and Cresselia as he wastes all of his PP. If we don't go for this strat, it will most likely sweep the entire team. As expected, he one-shotted Regigigas to get things started. No problem, worth it just to waste the 1 PP. Now it was Cresselia's turn. Landing Moonblast was not only super effective on Giratina, but also lowers its offensive stats, which absolutely saves me here against Shadow Force. Now the strat begins. I used Lunar Blessing over and over until it ran out of Shadow Force PP, at which point I was able to take it out with Moonblast. Amazingly enough, my Cresselia was not only my meat shield in this fight, it was also dealing a ton of damage, which I didn't expect, but hey, I'll take it. 7 Pokemon down, 1 to go. Origin Form Giratina time. First thing he does is destroy Cresselia with Shadow Force. How wonderful. It's gonna be up to Togekiss to tank this dude and maybe clutch it out. I rested and used a revive on Cresselia. Only to get one-shotted. My only shot here was some clutch, obscure RNG with Cresselia. And boy, did I get lucky here. It was revive and Lunar Blessing time once again. As I wasted Giratina's Shadow Force PP, I was also able to revive Togekiss in case I had to go through this loop again. and Dialga. And Regigigas. Cresselia was the MVP of this battle if that wasn't obvious already. With no more Shadow Force PP, Giratina was hitting me with Aura Sphere, which did basically no damage, so I was able to chip away at its health with Psycho Cut. By the time Cresselia finally went down, I had brought Giratina down to red health and had Dialga, Togekiss, Garchomp, and Regigigas waiting to end this. I needed one more hit, and it was Garchomp with a strong style Dragon Claw that was able to take it all home. Done. Easy. Just as planned. If I could do it, even with all those stupid mistakes, so can you. And there you have it. Volo was defeated, and the hardest fight I've ever had in a mainline Pokemon game was over. Honestly, as cheap as it was, I kinda love this fight. I'll take a super hard fight like this any day of the week over just mashing the A button like I have against all the other so-called tough battles in recent Pokemon titles. It's absolutely wild that I needed to regroup and develop a specialized strategy to beat a trainer in a single-player Pokemon game in 2022. In fact, I was so hyped after finishing this game that I felt compelled to make this video. Me, a Red Dead YouTuber. Legends Arceus is something really special and has me excited again for Pokemon in a way I haven't been since the DS era. So if you like this video and want to see more Legends Arceus content, please hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. I have a lot more to share from this game since I had such a great time playing through it, so expect more guides like this, minus the dumb mistakes, in the coming days. But until next time, thanks so much for watching everyone, and take care.